to communicate with chatbots rather than building friendships and relationships. And there is a risk that this will become the norm in our society. And that is something that feels possibly quite frightening for the future.
So as a new mum, we often don't have much time or much energy or the resources to dedicate to maybe finding the support that we need and carving out that time, particularly if we need to get childcare. But there's also a more kind of in-depth emotional barrier, I think, a lot of the time, because so much has changed in our life and we're struggling with so many new things that it can be really hard to feel like maybe like we deserve to find the support.
That's what makes it so unbelievably difficult, because there are so many benefits and exciting things that we can get from social media. We can use it to learn, we can use it to communicate, we can use it for entertainment. You know, at those moments when we're feeling isolated, it can help us to feel more connected to other people. So this isn't about saying, oh, well, social media is a terrible thing. It's brought us so much. It's about understanding, you know, are there times when you spend half an hour, endless hours online and you come away feeling worse? Are you coming away feeling like you're questioning yourself, like you're comparing yourself with other people? And that really is the kind of the point where it's worth saying, okay, I think I might need some help here. I think I might need to put some different boundaries in place. What do you think?
So I think what we're seeing here is a message that counselling is increasingly recognised as something that has the power to change our lives. You know, we're noticing that people are speaking more openly about our emotional well-being and kind of noticing, I suppose, the link between our emotional and our physical well-being, and that therapy gives people the time and the space to reflect on their feelings in a way that is different from, I suppose, when they are with their friends and with their family. So there's some really, really amazing news here. I think what we're also seeing is the key reasons why people are going to therapy. So things around anxiety, things around stress, and also rightly, as you pointed out in your intro just there, about the role of loneliness in all of this.
Yeah.
It's a good point. I think loneliness has always been there. And when we think about loneliness, I like to imagine it almost as both a cause and a symptom of what's going on with us emotionally. So it can be a cause in the sense that when we become more lonely and we have fewer people to speak to, or fewer people just to feel connected with, you know, it's not just necessarily about having that best friend to download with, it's also about feeling connected with who we are in as a society, then that can make us feel more depressed, more anxious, more stressed. But also on the other side of it, loneliness is a symptom, because if we are struggling with our emotional well-being, then we're likely to withdraw, we're likely to find it harder to connect with people. And so being lonely kind of exacerbates the issue, and we become these islands of stress and anxiety, finding it harder and harder to connect with other people. And I think if we look back over the last 5 to 10 years, you know, it's quite clear that COVID has a massive part to play. And although we might be out and about and we're not masked anymore and we feel like we're back in our everyday lives, I think that legacy of loneliness and isolation is still with us as a society.
To find out more about the impacts of loneliness, I'm speaking to Georgina Sturmer, a psychotherapist who recently voiced her concerns about the potential impacts of this new technology on mental health. What do you think it suggests about society and loneliness that people have started to download these apps?
I think there's a few different things. I think what we're looking at is a lot of people who are lonelier than ever. You know, we talk a lot about there being a bit of a loneliness epidemic at the moment, and I think that's something that we're seeing since we've come out of COVID, where people kind of disconnected a bit from society, or maybe started feeling more anxious about their friendships. And so if we have a situation where we're feeling lonely, we're feeling scared, we're feeling worried, it's likely that if we know that we have the option of chatting with an AI creation, maybe it's going to just feel so much harder and so much more scary to jump over that hurdle and try to make a friend, or speak to someone new, or smile at someone who we walk past on a footpath. But those are the things that make us so human. And kind of paradoxically, those are the things that can help us to try to overcome our anxiety. There's a huge risk if we're able to build a relationship or a friendship with an AI creation that is always flattering us, always supporting us, always telling us how great we are, because people aren't like that. The reality is that we're all flawed, and within our relationships there's a big part of, you know, the idea of rupture and repair, of having arguments, of being able to repair them, of getting things wrong, of annoying people, of maybe not feeling good enough and getting rejected, and those are all parts of humanity. And if our AI creation or our relationship enables us to kind of skip that and just get the fun parts, then the risk is that it's going to make it harder or more anxiety inducing to try to have a friendship or a relationship with a person in real life. Or if we think about someone who is isolated because of circumstances in life, so perhaps they're needing to quarantine because of something to do with their health, those kinds of issues, then actually having the option of having someone who is available 24/7, who will be supportive, who will be kind, who will be empathic, who will feel like they understand you. I can see that in those circumstances this could be really helpful and it could feel like a lifeline to people.